"No, Billy," was all I heard. "No, Billy, you'll break it. No, Billy, we've got school. No, Billy, we can't afford it." It was like I couldn't do anything. Why? Other people did. You could see it all around us. People living around here were getting ahead, even though they didn't go to school, didn't follow the rules. I watched how it all worked. You had to make something of yourself, just like Mason did. Mason was a dealer. He used to be like me, and now he had everything: the car, the clothes, the respect. So when he gave me a chance to make some money, I had to take it. I was 12 now. I wasn't going to be a nobody forever.
Everywhere felt like I should be somewhere else. I never chose to be in care. The courts have so much control over your life, making me move away from Mum. There were always doctors and people just trying to get into my head, make sure I wasn't going to hurt myself. I'm 16. I'm old enough to know how to look after myself. Being in care around other kids did my head in. I needed space to breathe. I spent as much time away from the home as I could, just wandering. Said I was out seeing friends, and there were no questions asked. Sometimes I just wanted to forget things and have a laugh. Being out, having new mates and a place to hang out really helped break the boredom. Jack didn't care where I'd come from. He was in care too, and he had his own stuff to deal with. He seemed happy to have me with him. Being somewhere different with some vodka and tabs helped us escape.
I've always been mature for my age. Last year in Tenerife, this guy was offering to buy me drinks and Dad went mad at him for chatting me up. It was so embarrassing. I dated some boys at school on and off, but they were just boys. I met Dylan when I was with some friends shopping in town. He said he was 18. He was a proper man. We hung out as a group and soon we were just meeting just the two of us. I told Mum and Dad that Dylan was 17. Obviously, Dad kicked off anyway when he found out. He was all, "Rosie, you're 15. But Mum reminded him that they were the same age as when they first got together. I could tell he wasn't happy, so I was careful. I told them that I was round one of the girls' houses, when really, I was out with Dylan and his friends. I knew it wasn't what I was meant to be doing. It was exciting.
I don't like to talk about my past. When people meet me as I am now, with my stuff together, renting a flat, and with a job, they're always surprised to find out that I'm only 17. I worry that if they knew about what I'd been through, they'd pity me, and that's not what I'm about. Funny though, that just when you think you have everything sorted, it can so quickly come crashing down. Workers said they're really sorry, but with everything going on, they had to slash my hours. Without anything coming in, how could I keep the flat and survive? I saw my neighbour Darren. He could tell something was wrong. He was the same age as me, and I barely knew him, but I just opened up. I don't know why. He said he could help me out. I thought he might be dodgy, but I felt better when he said it was his mum who might have worked for me.
Mason said he'd seen me around. Most people ignored me, looked at me like I was doing something wrong. But Mason was cool. Felt good that he gave me the time and respect that I didn't get from anyone else. He asked me if I wanted to make some money. He gave me £20 just for moving packs around. I worked hard and was reliable. Soon I was selling drugs and earning even more money than Mum. But I was careful to make sure she didn't find out what I was doing. Mason was pleased with me. He told me that if I kept working hard and kept my mouth shut, I'd work my way up and could be like him in no time. We're friends now, and I wasn't going to let him down.
Something big I want you to do, something a bit more important. It's going to be happening. And it's going to happen over the next few days. So.
I was out pretty much every night. Sometimes I was back for curfew, sometimes I wasn't. The drugs helped block out the path. Being someone like me, living around here meant that there wasn't much point in thinking of the future. Hanging out in parks, you saw all kinds of people. Drugs weren't hard to get a hold of. Loads of people were dealing. There were dodgy people too. Getting involved in harder stuff, but I kept out of all that. I didn't worry about anyone hurting me. Well, almost anyone. My biggest danger lived inside me.
Dylan's friends were well into drugs. I'd had beer before, so at first just stuck to a few vodkas, but I was curious to try weed and then edibles and different things. Like Dylan said, everything would become legal soon anyway. There was a right random mix of people. Little kids selling drugs and loners from their care home getting high. I did feel sorry for them sometimes. They just looked lost or like they should be somewhere else. They didn't have an amazing boyfriend and a nice home to go to like I did. For me, life was one big party.
Darren's mum was intense. She was asking me loads of questions. If I ever saw my family and who I knew around here. I told her it was just me. She even asked if I'd ever been a sex worker. I was embarrassed and told her of course I hadn't. She seemed happy with what I'd said and started to relax. Darren's mum was a dealer. She sold weed and told me she didn't deal anything harder around here. She said she needed someone clean to go out of town and do a few jobs for her. She made it sound like I'd be delivering pizza or something. But this was drugs and who knows what else. I said I wasn't interested. She said she was disappointed but respected my decision. She gave me 50 quid and said it was a gift. I tried not to take it, but she made me and said the offer was still open if I changed my mind. That night, I couldn't sleep. I thought about how my rent was due and how they promised me the work they were offering was safe. The next day, I went back and told him I was in. Is that job offer still open?
Mason told me the bosses were looking for someone to move up into dealing from properties. So they told them they could trust me, and that I was ready. Felt good to have a friend who believed in me. It meant staying over at places, so I told Mum I was sleeping at her mate's house. I'd been doing that for years, and knew she wouldn't check up on me, but Mason told me to text her every now and again so that she wouldn't get suspicious. The house I was dealing from was a right state. The guy who lived there didn't seem fully there in the head. I needed a way if Mason or one of the others came to pick up or drop off.
Sit down. This is what you're selling. When I come back, I expect this to be full. Okay?
He only came back when he was sure they'd left, and he'd come in looking like we were both trapped.
That is no longer the case, as thatching is now a heritage skill, and skilled craftsmen can be hard to come by.
One night, me and Jack were chilling in the park. The lads were smashing stuff for a laugh. Pretty standard behaviour from them. A policeman came and the lads did one. He asked us what was going on. We said we didn't know. He asked us if we'd been drinking. Here we go, I thought. He was going to take us back home, but he didn't. Instead, he talked to us for a while about stuff and told us to be careful and that there were dangerous people hanging about. Again, dangerous people. Why did everyone think that someone else was the danger? Jack had told me that sometimes he hurt himself. Only he understood what it was like.
One night I was high. We were in the park and there was this guy running towards us. I realised it was my dad's mate, so I dived behind the others to hide. Mum and Dad knew that I was seeing Dylan some nights, but I told them I was staying at Sarah's tonight, whereas really, I was going to be staying with Dylan. I told her I was ready to sleep with Dylan and tonight was the night. Dylan said that we should have some benzos to calm me down. I'd not tried that before, but he said I'd like it and it'd be good for later on. I did as he said. I trusted him. Why wouldn't I?
I took the phone Darren gave me and went to the addresses in another city like I was told. The first house had people tooled up and they had more stuff to move to different addresses. I thought I'd only have to stay over one night, maybe in a cheap hotel, but I soon knew that it was going to be 3 or 4 nights, and I had to stay at one of the addresses to make sure I didn't disappear with whatever package I had to move on. At night, I sat with my back against the door in case anyone tried to rob me, or worse. One of the addresses had a couple of girls there who must have been like 14, and I really couldn't tell if they wanted to be there or not. I hated every minute and wished I'd never got involved. My boss messaged me saying I hadn't turned up for my shift. I replied to say I was ill. He didn't text me again after that. You see these posts about missing kids who seem to turn up in no time, but it wasn't like that for me. No one even knew I was gone.
Dealing from houses meant long nights. There were some right dodgy characters, but I just carried on. I wasn't allowed to go outside. When Mason came round, he wasn't friendly and funny like he used to be. Sometimes he'd drop off food and cigs for me.
The mother ventures forth with her kids.
You got for me then?
Spring tide, they've come further down the beach than smaller tides would normally allow.
It's pretty good. I'll be back later.
Late one night, I got a text. Mason told me that I had to bring all of the cash to an address across town. I was so tired and hoped I could go home after that. I was half asleep as I walked, so I was totally off guard when I got smacked from behind. I dragged myself up and went to Mason as fast as I could. I told him what had happened. He didn't seem surprised and acted like it was my fault. I'd never seen him like this before. He told me that I'd let him down and I had to repay what I'd lost. Told me to go home and that I'd deal with me in the morning. I sneaked in so that Mum didn't ask why I was coming home at this time. Mason said that if I told her what happened, she'd get hurt. I didn't want her getting caught in my problems. They were down to me, and me alone.
I'd had a real crap day. People were chatting at me all the time, saying I couldn't do whatever I wanted, saying that they knew I'd been to visit my mum. There were rules for a reason. Then there was the stuff in my head, telling me I was useless, telling me that there was no wonder my mum didn't love me. I went to the park. Jack wasn't there. He was reading his messages. He probably didn't have data, but maybe it was more. He'd been talking really dark stuff about himself recently. The lads were there and I stayed out past late. So what? It wasn't like the carers really cared. I went off on my own. All I could think is that I needed to do something. Something to myself. My head was all over the place. I started letting the danger I was to myself take over. Something big to hurt myself this time. Something to make things feel better.
Tonight was the first time I'd had sex, but it wasn't like I thought it would be. Dylan had taken me to his mate's house. They were older and he told me to be nice to them. Dylan didn't even seem that interested in me, but the guys were, and they took their turns to have sex with me. When it was all over, Dylan said that he'd made this easy on me. That's why he'd given me the benzos. He said that his friends were very dangerous people and that this is how things would be for a while until the heat died down. He said there were things going on that I wouldn't understand. He took my phone and texted my mum. "Hey mum, thanks for letting me stay at Sarah's. Had a great night, see you tomorrow." Then he left me there with the guys. As soon as I could, I'd sneak out and figure out the way home.
Darren called. He said that was my last pickup and that I had to take it to a dressing hall. I was so relieved. I got to the final drop-off. There were two guys. They were drunk or high or both. They seemed to have the wrong idea about why I was there. One of them was pulling me towards him like I was some kind of prostitute. The other guy had to stop him, saying that they couldn't do that there. I cried. Not because I'd been hit. I was exhausted. I hadn't made the drop-off like I was supposed to. Darren and his mum wouldn't be happy, but I couldn't go back there. I just needed to get home.